Welcome to another episode of the Buckets Rants YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Clippers and how they still really have a lot to prove. They have a lot of concerns in the second half of the season, and we're going to say this right here, right now: no more excuses for the Clippers. They've lost 4 of their past 5 games, including a loss to the Sacramento Kings. They lost the Minnesota Timberwolves on that front end. And yes, they're the paper champs. They have Kawhi Leonard, they have Paul George, they have Lou Williams. All 3 of those guys, even if you want to include Montrezl Harrell as a 4th, you got guys like Marcus Morris. These are all score-first players. They don't have a primary playmaker. I'm here to set up for others and not just myself. They have a lot of guys that can go out there and get a bucket. They don't have the problem that the Lakers have. They don't have the problem where everyone's dependent on one guy to get to the ball. They can all create their own shot. They can all get their own bucket. But will they get buckets for each other? Will they create for each other? Will the ball move? Where's the hierarchy when it comes to late game situations of, I'm Paul George, am I going to be the closer? Lou Will, Kawhi Leonard. They do have some concerns in that aspect. Lou Williams is their best playmaker. He's the guy that I trust to go out there and distribute for others as well as create for his own. And he's kind of the guy the offense should probably run to in those big time moments, those late game situations, where you have Kawhi Leonard on one wing, you have Paul George on the other wing. And yes, Kawhi Leonard is the most clutch in terms of late game shots. I want Kawhi Leonard taking the shot. But I don't really want Kawhi Leonard having to have the responsibility of facilitating for others. That should probably be Lou Will's responsibility. He should be bringing the ball up the court. He should be telling guys where to go, get him in his spots. And if Lou Williams is really not hooping when it comes down to late game moments, if he's not ready to take that responsibility, and the Clippers are really going to be in trouble. Because these other guys, Kawhi's just going to basically have to backpack and just score a bunch of points. Because these other guys, if one guy is going off and trying to take all the shots, you're just not evenly distributing those shots. They're going to have less energy on the defensive side of the ball. They're not going to try as much on defense if they're focused so much on where are my shots going to come, where are my numbers going to come from. They have several guys, and this is honestly a good problem to have, because these guys can play on and off the ball. So it's not like we're saying we have a bunch of ball hogs here. But they have so many 18 plus point per game guys that can score the hell out of the basketball. They can shoot the hell out of the basketball. But you got to distribute that evenly to make sure everyone's getting theirs, everyone's comfortable. And then in late game, you know where you're going to go. And they don't have the reps yet to know where that hierarchy is going to come. Paul George has been in and out of the lineup. Kawhi Leonard does load management. They just got Marcus Morris. They just added Reggie Jackson as well. Pat Bev's been out a good amount. So they're not having these reps to kind of figure out these late game things, to figure out what spots these guys are going to come and get their buckets in. Because when the offense is flowing, with Doc Rivers and everyone knows what they're doing, they're a very scary team to beat. But when it's ISO here, ISO there, pick and roll with Lou Will and Montrez, at some point, everyone's got to be on one page. And everyone's got to be involved at some point in time. And obviously, talking about the stars, we know what Kawhi Leonard brings to the table, but Paul George, a.k.a. Playoff P, is usually hobbled. And he's usually underperforming this time of year, and it's been no different this season. Didn't even make the All-Star team, didn't play enough games, but also wasn't the same level Paul George we saw in Oklahoma City, even in the first half of the season. And now we get to the second half of the season, he already missed the first game. At the time I'm recording this, the Grizzlies game is tonight, but I don't believe he's going to be playing in that Grizzlies game either. So when is Paul George going to get back in the lineup? When is Paul George going to get his rhythm back? Because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both play the same position, is there going to be a little layover? Will they be able to work together on a consistent basis? Or is it going to really come down to staggering their minutes? And when Kawhi Leonard's out the game, you just have Paul George do the same things that Kawhi Leonard did. There's still a lot of things to figure out for a basketball team that's aspiring to win an NBA championship. You only have 20-some-odd games left to figure this stuff out. And yes, it's not like complete panic mode. They're third in the Western Conference, and they've already beaten their crosstown rivals twice. Or not even crosstown, they both play at the Staples Center, but they're so concentrated on beating the Los Angeles Lakers, and they show that energy, they show that intensity, and they beat them once even without Paul George. But where is that energy against the Houston Rockets? Where is that energy against the Milwaukee Bucks? Where is that energy against some of these other teams where It's not even the results of the game, whether you win or lose. It's just the effort and the consistency and the intensity is just not there. And guys are in and out of the lineup. I need to see consistency for a championship contender for this late game stretch. I understand the first half of the season. I understand if you want to load manage Kawhi Leonard a little bit, make sure he's healthy and good to go for the playoffs. But you got to get up every single night. You got to establish consistency. You got to establish your identity. We know you have great wings. We know you have a lot of scorers. But even defensively, you need to have someone that can protect the rim. How elite are you going to be defensively without an elite rim protector? I mean, Zubac is doing his thing, right? But Zubac in the playoffs last year, he wasn't getting the trust from Doc Rivers. Even this year, he doesn't get the trust. Doc loves to run Harrell a lot at the 5, and the closing lineup for the Clippers is going to feature Harrell at the 5. And Harrell he's been pretty mediocre defensively, guarding the pick and roll and things like that. And Zubac is a pretty good rim protector. He's decent. He gets the job done for stretches, but you're going to need him to play anywhere between 20 and 25 minutes. And if that can't happen, your elite wing defense, your perimeter defense, it's going to be exposed a little bit in the pick and roll situations. Yes, Pat Bev has been out the lineup, and they are 6th overall in defense. But this is a team where we're looking at before the season, we're looking at their having one of the best defenders at the point guard position, shooting guard position, and small forward position. Like, this was just going to be some juggernaut. And right now, when we look at the other two contenders, the Bucks and the Lakers have both been better defensively, although particularly the Lakers, have an issue with guarding wings, and the Clippers have wings as their strength. But the Lakers overall, they have that elite rim protector in Anthony Davis. So really a category that the Clippers were supposed to be their calling card defensively. And they're not as good of a defensive team as the Bucks or as the Los Angeles Lakers, although it is very, very close. But I would just say my big thing with the Clippers is you don't panic, but it's time to start cutting this load management stuff until the end of the season. Those last couple weeks, the last maybe like 2 weeks of the season, then you can rest. But show us what you have consistently. We know you guys have the best roster from top to bottom on paper, and you have shown the ability to flip the switch in games that you need. And in order to win a championship, you do need to be able to flip the switch. You do need to be able to have all the talent in the world, but you also got to develop this chemistry and this consistency. That you guys need to be a cohesive unit out there on both ends of the floor. And until I see that consistently, I'm going to have a hard time believing and feeling confident in the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, this is still the Los Angeles Clippers we are talking about. Kawhi Leonard is the only proven champ on this Clippers roster. These other guys have not earned the right to be given a pass and just assume that they're just going to turn it on when it comes to the playoffs in these big-time moments. Lou Will does seem to have a clutch gene. I don't think Paul George has shown in the playoffs that he has a clutch gene, and Lou Williams really hasn't had a consistent opportunity to show his clutch gene in the postseason. And you go down the line, a lot of these guys, they come with a chip on their shoulder, and they're dogs, and the locker room's probably great, but we got to see this consistency, and we got to see the chemistry, and we got to see them come and bring it each and every night like we know they can. So obviously, they did beat the Lakers twice, and they're feeling great about that, but this is the Clippers still that we're talking about. This is a team that has never been in this situation where they're prohibitive favorites. Kawhi Leonard has never been the prohibitive favorite, like the best player, the driving force of a prohibitive favorite. And how are the Clippers going to respond to that? And how are they going to respond to all this attention, all these expectations for a team that is known in history to have a Clippers curse where they underperform in the playoffs? I like to say they're Western Conference Finals virgins because just the injuries and stuff that piles up. They have really bad luck when it comes to stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. And in the playoffs, so much can change over the course of a 7-game series, and we're talking about late May and June. But it's important that the Clippers figure out these internal issues and really just get their groove and show me and prove to me why I should pick them over the Lakers. Because it's not like we have a situation like Golden State. There are 3 teams at the top. There are 2 teams I feel more confident in the third. I think the Bucks are very, very good. When it comes down to it, the Lakers and Clippers both just have more overall firepower. Giannis is doing a phenomenal job up in Milwaukee, but you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I do worry. There's a lot of concerns, and I could make a video like this about the Lakers, although they are first in the West. They're taking the regular season a lot more seriously, but there are still potentially even more. There's probably a lot more concerns with the Lakers overall roster from top to bottom, but those guys are coming in on it every single night and they're playing hard. Some of these times against these contenders, they've been struggling a little bit, but they do still have the most wins against teams that are 500 or better. If anything, the Lakers have elevated my view of them based on how seriously they have taken the regular season, and we know what kind of vengeance LeBron James is going to come with. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Clippers in this last stretch. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. Those are the two top teams, the Lakers and the Clippers. Battle of LA, going to be fun.